Zach told me about a game that I had never heard of before, a game series, and I'm like, this just seems kind of whatever. Seems like a Zachy style game, and
One of my favorite games
that
ever.
would be Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ah,
the definitive edition of Lisa just launched, which adjusts the visuals and kind of repackages a bunch of things and adds a lot of quality of life improvements. And I got this for Switch, and I thought, I let's give this a shot. I wanted to check this game out because I don't want to sit in front of a computer screen to play an intentionally low res style, Super Mario Brothers 3 level of graphic
Ooh, get
fidelity
him,
game.
Brad. Ooh.
Um, I really fucking like this game, dude.
Yep.
Holy shit. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I felt so uncomfortable throughout. So this packages Lisa the Painful and Lisa the Joyless
With
or
the
Joyful,
joyful,
whatever.
yeah.
Joyful. So it packages both of them together, or you can actually buy them separate. They're sort of the definitive versions of each. But I got the code that that has both of them. It made me very uncomfortable because a story about abuse, whether it's drug abuse, whether it's child abuse, whether it's familial abuse, it's social abuse, it's status, it's classism. Uh, it's set in a post-apocalypse, and all of the shit that all the baggage that we have right now is just amplified. Like personal baggage is completely amplified. So the game starts, at least the painful, starts with Brad,
Hmm.
B-Rad, who's a kid, and his dad just abuses the heck out of him. His dad basically says he hates him, blah blah. And so years later, after all the women have died, and it's just the dudes left, and guys are being guys, and they're taking control, and they're murdering each other, and they're just getting worse. And Brad finds a baby girl, and then he starts to raise a baby girl because he had such a shitty father. Well, you'd think, all right, well, he's going to start doing something right by his, by the growth and by how he's going to protect this child, as the only female on the planet. But no, by the end of this thing, you're like, fuck, everything is cyclical. Like abuse is cyclical. Like if you don't have proper health, it really is a story about mental health, about personal health, about love and affection, how to really treat, or how to really go about helping yourself and helping others that have those issues, or at least understanding what those issues are. And because of that, man, it just gut punches you every opportunity, whether it's the Brad's so-called friends that are with him. Like you learn to essentially hate all of them. Buddy is what he names the baby girl, so that he can kind of hide what she is. Otherwise everyone's going to want the only female.
Yep.
It's just wild. So it's all done. All for anybody who hasn't played the Lisa games. It's a 2D sort of platforming looking world, but it's all storytelling is really all it is. Like the battles are all meaningful. It's not like you're running around doing these stupid random battles in like typical RPGs. These are sort of Mario RPG style battles where there's, sometimes there'll be like key button presses, sometimes there'll be specific actions that you have to do. By the way, I'm going to play the live action trailer because apparently they decided to make a live action trailer. So let's start with this sucker. But God, it is it's a heavy game. Both the games. The Joyful is sort of an epilogue style thing, set after the events of the first one. I wasn't expecting what this game was going to be, and I really enjoyed it. And I will say, playing on the small screen is perfect. I'm really glad that I chose the Switch version because I want to play this on a very focused screen. I don't want to have these, constant distractions by. Right now, I'm staring at my laptop. I have 50 freaking tabs open. I have a light in my face. I want the simplicity of just staring at this low res these low res style visuals,
Yeah.
but focusing on the story. So Lisa is deep. It's not going to be for everybody because of the really strong themes within it, but it's a marvel of what Dingaling as a developer they were able to pull off
It's
to
just one
tell me.
guy.
It's just one guy, man. But what
It's
what they were
made in
able to
RPG
pull off,
Maker as
dude,
well. So
which is such an awesome testament to what you can do in RPG Maker because yeah, looking at this now, I'm like, oh shit, I can make this. I should
yeah,
try to make this kind of stuff. I know exactly how they made this kind of stuff because I'm familiar with RPG Maker 95 and all that. Anyway, so yeah, the portable version or play it portable, play it on the Steam Deck, play it on the Switch. You want to play it on that form factor because I think it really fits in that form factor. You play it with the lights off because you want to focus on the screen and focus on the story. It's such a narrative game that uh, you really get all in, even with sort of these RPG elements. Like when you're building, you got your party built up and your teammates are with you. And whew, it's a
yeah.
it's a game and a half, but worth owning. I think worth owning.
And the music is really good. I
Mm-hmm.
think the music is something to write home about. He made it
I was
in
surprised about the music. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
yeah, he made it in FL Studio on the trial version with like
Great.
the default sounds. He just like he made it like with no
It's so good.
experience making music, and it's good. Like it fits the game is so rough and weird and
Yes.
strange. The
Yes.
music fits it perfectly.
It really does.
It's
It
such a
really does.
singular voice. But yeah, the thing that I really love about the game, besides everything you said,
Mhm.
is the choices that you make to
Man.
like exchange parts of your body to
Mhm.
help people. Like, how far are you actually willing to go? And it affects your gameplay. Like, if you give up
Mhm.
an arm, like you
You
lose
can
your
no
right.
longer left punch. You
Yeah,
can.
you
Yeah.
you lose your punch. You can become just like a body and just kind of like worm your
Try.
way
Yeah.
around. Yeah, it's so good. It makes me want to cry just thinking about it. I love this game so much.
And again,
Uh,
it may it makes you want to cry not because of like it's a technical achievement, but because of those you go back and you try to remember the plot to this thing, and you're like, oh shit. Then there's this. Then there's the choices that lead to doing this, and you're like, oh shit,
yeah,
I make a choice. Oh shit, I have to decide on this type of thing, which is really weird. And yeah,
yeah,
Morty broke your neck is way more deep in this game than got slashed in like Final Fantasy VI.
right.
Just
Yeah,
wild. It's awesome.
and Brad is a character amazing, man.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
by the end. I haven't fully completed it yet because I hopped into the epilogue while I was towards the end of this game, um, just to kind of make sure I got both of them in for the review. But I don't like Brad like most of the way through when things, without saying it, the story starts to like you realize the story is evolving along the way, and you stop sort of cheering for Brad and start accepting kind of what Brad has to do, and you start looking inward. You're like, well, I'm Brad. Why? What am I gonna do to resolve this? Am I willing to do this? And so, yeah, by the end, you kind of hate yourself for some of the choices you make. But I think that's just the capability of a good storyteller utilizing this. He could have made this in Unity, could have made this in Unreal, and made like a 3D world. But no, this really was the presentation of this really does hit. And again, I think it works well because it reminds me of those NES era, Super NES era games when I was the age of some of the initial storytelling aspects of this. You find out like the very opening scene is Brad gets beat up by bullies and he has to go home and his dad yells at him for not being able to stick up
yeah.
for himself. And I'm like, shit,
That
that was me when I was playing games that looked like this.
well, and that opening scene is
I didn't
so
get beat up though. I beat up other people. But
that
yeah,
opening scene is so powerful because
it really is.
you're walking through a neighborhood and you're like, oh, where's my house? You're trying to
Yeah.
figure out where your house is. You
Yeah.
keep walking, and then you get to like the really shitty,
Shitty
beat up
house.
house, and you're like, okay, this is where Brad lives. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
like it's like this. The storytelling is just so, you know, so
Yeah.
good.
It's so good.
Yeah,
It's so good.
yeah.
Lisa, check it out. Um, I was playing another storytelling game. Very different style of storytelling game.